Right, this is a basic guide to how I set up my main line for carp fishing. So there's your main line there. First of all, take a bit of rig tubing. Feed on a bit of rig tubing. I do have a little trick for doing this for when the tubing's kinked, or if you're using a real long bit of tubing, but I won't be able to show you that with the camera angle at the moment, so I can show you that another time. But there you go, just pull that through, put on your leg clip, set up. So tail rubber for the leg clip goes on. And the leg clip itself. And then you get your swivel. Swivel I like to use is just a standard swivel, but then the one with the bigger ring on the end, because you just find it gives it a little bit more movement when it's got the rig on there. And it's got the rig attached to the ring. So just feed that on there. And then the knot that I use for this here, nice and simple knot. Just a figure of 8. So just make the loop, twist it, feed the swivel up through the bottom, and just lick it, and then just bed it down gently, and snip off your tag end. And just put all that down tight. And then what you can do, just at the end of the bit of tubing to stop it coming up the main line, is just put just a tiny bit of putty on there. Just gently, don't even have to put it on tight, just so it just stops it from kicking up. There you go, and that's the main line set up. And then ready to attach the swivel. So what we'll do is we'll go through making a rig, and then I'll show you how to attach the rig. Right, so I've got 2 big boxes. One of them, when I go fishing, does me no help, to be honest with you. It's this one here, as you can see in there. There's a lot of good rigs in there, like there's multi-rig, stiff, sorry, not multi-rig, stiff hinge rigs, 360s, combi rigs. Using that box when I go fishing with it, it does me no good, to be honest with you, because I find I mess about, I'm not fishing confidently, sorry, and yeah, it does me no good. But when I go fishing with and use the rigs out of this box, which are all the same rig with top baits pop-ups on, I seem to catch fish. So this is just a multi-rig, and I'm going to show you how to tie it. So first of all, you want to get some semi-stiff coated braid. Semi-stiff works better than like real stiff stuff, because you still want a little bit of suppleness in it, but not too much. So to start off with, just make a little loop on the end, and then fold it over. Just tie this off. You'll get used to what length you've got to tie the loop the more you do it. This one will probably, I don't know, it'll end up either too long or too short, just where I'm trying to do it for a video purpose rather than actually tying rigs up for myself. So all you do, if I can get the knot to go through, just loop it over, and then just pull it down. Just a simple overhand knot. And don't pull it down too tight, you don't want to bed it, because where it's stiff coated material, it can strangle itself and then cause a break if you put too much pressure on it. And then all you do is take the loop, feed it through the eye of your hook, like that. Something like that, sorry. I use a bait screw. You can use a swivel if you wanted, a little micro swivel, but I like a bait screw because it's easier to put the pop-ups on and it holds them nice. And then just push that over the end and just pull it down tight a little bit, just so that can't come back off on itself. Then you end up with that look next. And then what I like to do is I don't cut a length off of the spool of braid. I leave it attached there, because then when you tie that knot, if you've tied it too tight or too small, or sorry, this knot up here for looping on there, if you've tied it too tight or too small, you only have to snip it there. You're not wasting a whole length of coated braid because you've tied the knot too tight, and then by the time you've done it, you've ended up with a little hook link. So then cut that off nice and long still, so leave a bit of length on there. So as you can see, that's still quite a long hook link there. And then all I do, just below the knot, just gently with my fingers strip back the coating on the braid. There we go, just a little bit. See, just strip back the coating on the braid a little bit there. And all I'll do is just work the fibres a little bit, just to make them a little bit looser, just so they've got a bit more move in them, and they're not so much resistance there. And all I do after I've stripped that bit back is put a little bit of shrink tube on there. Only has to be a little bit, look. Put a little bit of shrink tube on. It's only just to go over the bottom part of the hook and just cover your, just go on there like that, over the bottom part of your hook. And then final bit for that end is just take a split shot. I use a AAA with a 14mm top baits pop up. I know that these AAA ones is the right weight to pull the buoyancy down and sit the hook the way that I want to underwater. Oh, sorry, I'm off camera there. So all I then do is just pinch the split shot down where the coated braid ends, and then I'm left with that. And then I'll steam the bit of tubing down, so it then looks like this. This one I made earlier with the tubing steamed down and the nice subtle bit, the bait screw, and then I steam the whole rig so it sits nice and like that. As you can see, that sits straight. The one that's just come out of off the reel that I've tied, if I didn't steam it when I cast it out in the water, it's still all coily. So I like to steam, when I steam that bit, steam the whole bit of braid just by twisting it, so you get all the sides of the braid nice and it makes it go all stiff. And then on this end, I just, again, I'll tie a figure of 8 knot in this one. So do that, loop it over, pass that up through the bottom, like so. Cut off the bit of tag end. Don't pull it down too tight or anything, because like I mentioned, the coated braid can strangle your knot. So we'll get that out. And there we go. That is the finished rig. And then before I attach, I'll show you how we attach it to the swivel. Just take a little bit of rubber tubing, pop that on there, and then here's the big ring swivel that I had earlier on my main line setup, and then all I do is feed that through there, pass the whole rig through that loop, just work it down on itself. And pull the bit of tubing down. Just pull that up over there. Just to cover that there. And that's it. That is my rig setup with the main line. And then obviously you just clip your lead on. Before you cast it out, obviously you have your bait on there, so we can just quickly screw the bait on. I've got here 14mm tops bait toffee and peanut. So we'll just screw that on there, and then before I cast it out, I like to use some PVA nuggets, just so then when the lead hits the deck, the lead goes down, and then obviously this sinks down with the PVA nuggets. So what I do is I put one in on the hook like that, one over the top of the hook there, and then just licking across one side of it, I do stick that one into them two. Obviously I pinch them a bit, but there you go. So then that is it. That's what I'm casting out in the water. That's what I've used for the fish that I've just recently caught. It's set up exactly like that, no different, and that's what works for me. So obviously where that's steamed all nice and stiff, the lead hits down, and then this gently sinks as the nuggets come off, and then your rig just sits up nicely.